I am so sorry about how late I am with these after show recaps, but this episode is a recap of the after show for episodes 8 and 9. And the recap for the Valley episode 10, which is this week's newest episode. So the episode 10 after show recap will be in your feed very soon after this one. So after you listen to this one, just check back into your feed for episode 10. Thank you so much for your patience. I just had an incredibly busy 2 weeks with my regular job and had to cut something out of my schedule to literally survive. And unfortunately, it had to be this, but I am getting myself back on track. Thank you so much for listening to these after show recaps and continuing to support me and the show. And I hope you enjoy today's episode. Let's get to it. Welcome to the Bravo Papers, a safe space for all us Bravo fans who love to analyze, deconstruct, and talk about our favorite Bravo shows ad nauseum. So join me, Bravo and Botox, and we'll catch up on all the Bravo news and read way too much into our favorite shows and Bravo celebrities. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Bravo Papers, here to bring you your Valley after show recap for episodes 8 and 9, which I am way behind on, so my apologies for that. But let's get into it. Okay, so first we talk about Jax and Britt dating. So Jax says he's not dating anybody, but right away he's like, looks at the producer and he's like, is Britt dating anyone? Did she say that she is? So he's clearly obsessed. Then says he knows she is and that there's a guy and that he's seen condom wrappers next to the bed. I just don't believe this. Like, I just don't think that this is something that like some people would do, like leave a condom wrapper next to the bed. I don't think it's something Britt would do. Like, I think if Britt had a guy over, she would throw the condom wrapper in the garbage after. I just think that's like her personality. Like, I don't think, you know who would do this though is Jax. Jax and a lot of other men who are like left to their own devices and would just like throw things on the floor next to their bed. And yes, there are women who are like that too, but I don't think Britt is one of them. And it's just so funny how he like projects his own behaviors onto her. The amount that he lies in this after show and in the next two is, I mean, it might be unprecedented for a Bravo celebrity. I don't know if I've ever seen a Bravo celebrity lie just in the sheer volume of lies. Like, when I think about the biggest liars in Bravo history, you know, like Jen Shaw, like whatever, Phaedra, like I don't know who else lies a lot off the top of my head. Whatever, that's all I got right now. But it's like, even if they told big lies that are like really bad, which like both of those examples did, Jack still is like the lying winner just because of the sheer volume of lies that he tells. It's crazy. Okay, then he says, oh sorry, then Britt says what sounds like the truth. That's the other thing, is everything that Jack says, it doesn't sound realistic. It often doesn't sound like, it doesn't suit either his personality or her personality. It always sounds a little bit off from reality, and from just like what we know of these people and of what we know of what commonly happens in these type of situations, and just of what we know of like human behavior. Like, my first thought was like, she wouldn't leave a condom wrapper on the floor, but he probably searched to see if she has condoms somewhere, like something like that. And then lo and behold, Britt says she has a drawer that she keeps condoms in, and he went in and counted and kept count of them. Yeah. Does that sound real? Yes, that sounds like something Jax Taylor would do 100%. Then Jack says he went through the trash to count them. So there you go. Like, right away, it's like, And then Schwartz is like, well, that's not controlling at all, like sarcastic. And then Jax quickly realizes, because he doesn't realize how terrible he sounds like 99% of the time until somebody corrects him on it. Right. So then he quickly amends his story and says, well, no, I didn't like search through the trash. I was just sitting on the toilet and I just happened to look in the trash can and there was a condom wrapper right there. Okay, so you just said you went through the trash to count and you said them. So, like, we just can't believe anything you say at any time. That's it. It's like, it's always a contradiction. It's always something is not right. So then he says that he tried to make a joke about it and make it lighthearted. And he's like, oh, yeah, at least you're using condoms. Ha ha ha. Bullshit. There is zero chances ever that Jax would say this as a joke and that he's trying to joke around with Brittany about using condoms to fuck whatever new guy she's with. There's 0% chance. Like, period, end of story. What he probably said is he probably called her a whore or some other derogatory name in regards to sex and women, and then he probably said, well, at least you're using condoms while you fuck all these different guys, and he probably said something disgusting like that. There's no way he made a joke. Then he said, and then he's like, well, we should be able to make jokes. It's been a year and a half and we should be able to joke around and like ask each other who we're dating. Okay, so you want to ask her who she's dating is what you're saying. He says that we can't joke around though, because Brittany's still like so hurt. Oh yeah, she's the one she's hurt. She's hurt because you hurt her, but she's not like hurt that you're having sex with other women or dating other women or whatever, because you've been doing that since you were married. And now this time she's actually moved on. Like, he's so crazy. Like, he doesn't even want us to think that he is possibly hurt by this right now. So he's like, I understand what, because she's still hurt. I just want her to be happy. She's still young enough to like get married again and have kids. Like, fuck off. Like, ugh, he's just terrible. So then Zach says Jax flies off the handle with even the mention of a guy's name that Brittany might be seeing. Exactly. And I'm sorry, I don't believe anything that Jax says. When it comes to Jax and Brittany, I believe Brittany, but even more, I believe all the other people for the most part. Okay, so Zach says Jax flies off the handle, and he also says that it's about control. He says as long as he feels like he has control, but since she doesn't have like an official boyfriend, he still feels that way. But he says once she goes public with a guy, he's going to freak out. So I wonder if that happened, because there was like an announcement that she was like seeing this guy, this like songwriter guy. Anyways, I wonder how he handled that. I'm sure it wasn't that well. Okay, so then we talk about the whole thing at the beach, because I'm 2 episodes behind. I'm sorry. Jasmine says she doesn't believe that Janet suddenly changed her opinion because she told her mom and her mom was upset. Yeah, I agree. Like, maybe your mom was upset. I don't know. There's probably some like half truth to it, but do I believe that all of a sudden Janet like changed her entire opinion about this? No. I think her and Jason played it cool on the spot because they didn't want to look like shady or like there was truth to it. But then I think they went home and they sat and they talked about it and they stewed and they analyzed it to death, and also maybe saw it as a good potential storyline where they could be a victim, and they flew with it. That's what happened. So Janet mentions that Jason's mom is a retired kindergarten teacher and she's very sweet and she got choked up. What the fuck does it matter if she's a retired kindergarten teacher? Like, I'll tell you what it matters. Janet thinks it matters. So she thinks if I tell all of you guys in the audience that Jason's mom thought this was despicable and she is a retired kindergarten teacher, then you have to agree with us, because she somehow is like this like sweet, innocent old lady who like Janet is putting on a moral pedestal. And now we all have to like comply and be, oh, well, if Jason's mom said, she used to teach little kids, she's a saint. Like she's really trying it. She's so passive and manipulative in these ways. Like there's no reason to mention that. But like, so what if she was like a retired air traffic controller? Like, would you have mentioned the job? Like, fine. I guess you would say like, well, I'm just trying to reiterate that she's like a sweet person. Yeah, because you're trying to make Jasmine into a bigger villain than you already think she is. Because if you say she didn't just hurt Jason's mom, she hurt a retired kindergarten teacher, not a high school teacher, a kindergarten teacher. Okay? Like, fuck off, Janet. And by the way, all the respect in the world to kindergarten teachers, hardest job of life. But what I will say is that it's just not relevant in this situation. Okay. Okay. Jasmine says he's probably upset because the people who said this were actually his closest friends and they said it. She didn't make it up. Exactly. Like, I would be upset too if my like best guy friend, especially with guys, because guys are so like bro code, So if they break it, it's like, whatever. And like generally the stereotype is that like guys aren't going out to gossip, even though I think that's completely untrue. I think tons of guys like to gossip. But it's also like this idea that if a guy said it and he's been like protecting his boy, then like it must be true. Like there is kind of that assumption. So I'm sure Janet and Jason were sort of panicked. And I think that is what probably made them blow up the next day or get more mad about it, because then they were like, no, I demand an apology and I demand that you take it back. Right. So Kristen says, to be clear, no one thinks that Jason's out banging chicks every night. She's literally said this just to get back at them for coming at Danny. And then she goes, yeah, it's simple. Kristen thinks this is so. Kristen really thinks this is like, guys, this is just what we do. Like, come on. This is like a simple chess move. Like, it's like, I'm moving a pawn. I'm not doing anything crazy. Why are you getting so worked up? And I think, she's got a point. Like, she didn't even have to do very much to send Jason and Janet into like a 5-episode spiral. Like, it was such a small thing if you think about it. Jason goes on about how, like, it's like you just don't want something like that out there about you. It's in his Google search. It could prevent him from getting law clients. Well, then you shouldn't have gone on a show with Jax Taylor. I'm sorry. Don't come to me with this like little violin sob story now about how this could affect your real life. You're choosing to be on a reality show with arguably like some of the worst people, possibly the worst person on reality TV, and you're friends with him. That is what you should be worried about. Okay. Because you have been a huge enabler and you seem to still be defending him. So that is what would make me not want to be your client personally. And also, like, you're going on a reality show. Like, you can't, anyone who goes on a reality show and expects to never be the villain, never have rumors about them brought up, never have anyone say anything bad about them is truly delusional. And I can't help you. Janet says Jason's character is flawless. Well, it's not anymore. Also, he's a Janet enabler, so I wouldn't say his character is flawless. Okay. Then we talk about the podcast. So Jack says their podcast makes $1 million a year, which I still can't wrap my head around how that's possible, but okay. They have listen, I believe their podcast makes a lot of money. Absolutely. $1 million is a very big number, but I bet you it's somewhere in the 6 figures and that he's probably just exaggerating, because it's funny because Brittany never says a number. Jax is the one who says these very specific numbers and I can't trust anything he says. So yeah. So he's like, yeah, no, yeah, it makes like $1 million a year. And then we have this thing, it's called RSF feed or our RS feed. He actually says RS feed and RSF feed, which both of those are incorrect. And he's like, I can't remember, whatever. It's an RSS feed. And it is literally like one of the most basic things about podcasting. Like it's close to as basic as like having a mic. So for him not to know that really tells me that he did little to nothing in contributing to this podcast besides showing up to record, which of course ends up being absolutely true, as you will see soon. So he says they, and then says he's going to hand over the RSS feed to Brittany. I don't know what this means because you like he's kind of talking about splitting the RSS feed. The RSS feed is basically like the unique kind of like address that you put in for your podcast through like a podcast host, and then it will like feed it out to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. I don't know if I explained that well. Okay, so it's here, let me do like the Google way of explaining it. It's a web feed that allows users to easily access updates from websites in a standardized machine readable format. Essentially, it's a way to get the latest content from your favorite sites without having to visit each one individually. So it stands for really simple syndication. Okay, so yeah, so you have your RSS feed and it's just designed to syndicate your content and distribute it from whatever website you're using to all the other platforms. Again, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, all at once. So he's saying that whoever they are, I'm assuming it's whatever podcast company they're with, was saying that they have to hand over, that he's going to hand over the RSS feed to Brittany. And they asked how he wants to do this because his half is worth $500,000. And he said he'll hand it over, but he doesn't want to hear about the house anymore. Because once he hands it over, that should like pay for the house. And like, we're even. And this is going to be his new big talking point, by the way, for this rest of this episode. Brittany says she never got the RSS feed. I'm not sure why she didn't have it in the first place, but I guess maybe, I don't know if it's under his account or like I would think my podcast carrier like could access my RSS feed. So like I don't know the way that, I don't know. They obviously have a contract. I don't know how they did it, but whatever. So Brittany says she never got it. She said basically they had to split the podcast earnings all the way up until the contract was up, and then she was able to take it over. And now he still hasn't signed it over and he holds it over her head. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is insanity. Like the fact that he, in his interview chair with Schwartz and Jesse, is literally telling us something, and he says it like it's facts, and it is just a complete lie. He goes, yeah, I signed it over. So she has it. So I don't want to hear anything about the house anymore. No, you didn't. You waited and you kept it until the contract was up. So you never actually, okay. And then you still haven't signed it over technically, she says. So now he hasn't signed it over and holds it over her head. Like he'll say things like, oh, well, like if you want to do this, if you don't let me see Cruz, then, or if you don't let me do this, then, I'm not going to sign it over. So then the producer pushes Jack a bit and he's like, have you handed it over? And Jax is like, yeah, I signed the paper. He's like, we were just waiting for the contract to be up and now we're even. So you didn't sign it over. You waited for the contract to be up, and then basically allowed her to probably sign a new contract that you're just not part of with whatever podcast company they're signed to. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot of lies. Lala mentions, that the other thing to keep in mind is that Brittany is on the hook for $18,000 a month mortgage. Exactly. Because of his taxes. And, why is that all on her? Yes. I mean, but again, this is Lala's like new role on the Valley, is like stating obvious opinions that are easy to agree with. I don't know if that's her way of like trying to get back in with people, but Brittany says, yeah, she gets the house and yes, she can sell it one day, as I guess Jack's like kind of said that to her as like a comeback. And she's like, but I don't want to sell it and I'm still going to lose all this money on the tax debt. So yeah, and exactly. She doesn't want to sell it because she probably wants to keep Cruz there and it's a good house for him, like with the pool and stuff. But then here's the other thing. Do you think it's going to be easy for her to get a new house? Like this is all this stuff that has happened has gone against her credit. Like this is just it's going to be so tough for her. So like I understand that. It's like he's put her in like a no-win situation. So Jax is like, the house is hers. I gave it to her. Like he's like, listen, I'm not a terrible person. I want her and Cruz to have the house. Okay, so now you're saying that after you kicked them out when your son was being diagnosed with autism. Okay. It's just like it means nothing. Anything he says, every time he says what he did is you can tell it's because he's just trying to get the audience to think that he's changed. Like it doesn't have to do with him actually giving a shit about his family. Jackson's like, I started a new podcast. It'll be successful. It is successful. Well, maybe it was when you did this interview, but now the season has aired. And from what I've heard, it's not doing well. And I noticed that he rebranded it. So it used to be called In the Mind of a Man. And I was on Apple Podcasts the other day and it was, in the like the top 200 for podcasts. And I was asking myself, like, who is listening to this shit? But I was like, okay, now it's called In the Mind of Jax Taylor. Huh. Okay, I just went and looked it up. He's still in the top 200. He's number 58 today. Um here's the thing. I bet you a lot of the listens are people doing like recaps or like other podcasters maybe like myself who are like trying to like get the tea. Like I don't know, or he has like a bunch of sick men that are fans. I don't fucking know. Okay. Or like weird pick me women who still like him. I have no fucking idea. But yeah, he's changed it to In the Mind of Jax Taylor. Okay. So, I mean, I guess he's still having success with it. Although Britney's is number 27 and she's been pretty high up there, you know, lately and just consistently. So, but again, like, the season's airing, people are listening, looking for tea, etc. So that's always a good thing for them. So listen, it seems like she's doing well. I have a feeling that we will see Jax's kind of go down and down as time goes on. Okay. I feel pretty confident about that. So, okay. Britt says that he never did any of the work for their podcast. There you go. Which is why he doesn't know what an RSS feed is. He says that she says she would come up with the topics, questions, and basically she would interview him every episode because he didn't do any prep work, which just sounds so fucking Jax. He's so lazy. Okay. So then we go back to the conversations on the beach with Janet and Jasmine and Jason, all the J names. Janet is like sarcastically like they replay Jasmine's monologue of being like, you've got Karen energy, etc. And then Janet's like, what a monologue. And then she starts like slow clapping and then like everyone claps. Like Michelle and Sheena, whatever. And she's like being sarcastic and she has this smile on her face, like she's trying to act like she's unbothered or whatever. You're bothered. You're so fucking bothered. And then later in this interview, you say that you went and cried after the speech in your car. So fuck off with this. Michelle sarcastically is like, wow, what a friend. Who asked for your opinion? Who are you? Okay. Whatever. Okay. So Jason says it's like Jasmine did a 180. He loves saying this line. No, she didn't do a 180. Like she didn't change her personality. She got upset at her friend because her friend was being an asshole. And I think that's okay. So, yeah. Jasmine says that the reason she reacted the way she did is because the night after the shark party, Janet was rage texting Jasmine. Oh, so interesting. So Janet does her dirty work and asshole behavior off camera and sends rage texts. And then when you yell at her on camera, she goes into her car and cries and acts like the fucking victim. Why am I not surprised? That's exactly what I would expect of Janet. And isn't that so convenient that Janet doesn't mention, and neither does Jason, that she was rage texting Jasmine the night after the party? So fucking, so convenient. Okay. So that's why. So Jasmine says when she got to the beach, she was, in her feelings about those texts, and she was like, "Fine, if you want to do it like this, I'm going to stop holding back." Jasmine says there are leftover bad feelings from last season as well because of the minion thing. And then they show Janet's like two minions from last season, the ones that Zach doesn't like. And then I guess Jasmine called them minions or something. I don't remember exactly what the context was. They just kind of give you like a big flash, but I guess that you cannot make any little comment towards Janet or anyone she's friends with. She is like she has like a book, she's filing away, she's checking it twice. Like she you could tell this one is a grudge holder and she'll play the long game with you. Like I get why Jasmine says she's like kind of dangerous to have on your bad side. So Jasmine says it's been tense with her and Janet, and it still is now. Which yeah, I can see that. And she should maybe just cut her losses at this point. Jasmine says that Janet started being weird with her basically when the valley started. She said all of a sudden, this is so funny. Um, Janet would have parties and she would not invite Jasmine, but she would invite people like Katie Maloney and Ariana Maddox, and they would be there. And then Jasmine would ask, like, "Hey, you had a party. Like, why didn't you invite me?" And Janet would be like, "Oh, whoops, I just forgot. Oh my God," or like some bullshit excuse. So I don't know what she was doing because then Janet tries to say that she's the one who like recommended Jasmine for the show, but I don't know if I believe that because it's kind of giving like she doesn't want to share this, like she see this is like the Vanderpump Rules friend group, and like it's almost like she doesn't want to share it with people from outside the group. Something happened, which I hope they talk about this more in the reunion, but clearly there was some, you know, shift in a lot of these relationships as soon as like the show was greenlit, you know, maybe it was like I don't know. I assumed they meant when the show started, but maybe they went meant when she moved to the valley. But I thought they meant when the show started. But it's kind of like Janet was like gatekeeping her friendships with the Vanderpump Rules people, and I could totally see that because she wants it to be her thing. Like I'm friends with Ariana and Katie. And they're like the most two popular girls in like the Bravo world right now because this was probably Scandival-ish time 2 years ago. Makes sense. And I'm not going to be like, what if they meet Jasmine? What if they like Jasmine more? Which, why wouldn't they? Because like Janet's way less cool than Jasmine. And then, and then she'd be jealous. Like I could see her being that petty and insecure. Then Jasmine actually gets emotional and she says she does want to get back to a good place with Janet because they were good friends for a really long time. And yeah, that's kind of what does make this show run well and is part of why it's really good is because they were, these people were actually friends. So it's kind of like, that's why it's working better than some other shows where they try to put together people who really aren't friends and have no history. Like you need to have a history. Okay, so then they talk about Britt's wedding band because her wedding rings are missing. Gee, I wonder where they are. I have a suspicion. They are up someone's nose. His initials are JT. Jack says he has them. Britt's like, I haven't seen them. I don't know where they are. He doesn't fucking have them. The producer asks Jax where they are. Jack says they're in a safe, and his plan is to put them into a trust for Cruz. Fucking bullshit. They are gone. They're pawned. He spent it on drugs, whatever, or whatever the fuck else he feels like buying, some bullshit. Done. Okay. The producer asks Oh, sorry. What does he ask? Oh, yeah. Then the producer asks Britt, what are the chances that Jax sold the ring? Britt says very high. That is so fucked up. Like to not only to sell it, but to take it without asking her. And it doesn't matter that you're getting divorced. Like that's her ring. That's not yours. Ugh, he's such a piece of shit. Okay. So then the producer asks Jax if he pawned it, and Jax is like, oh, I definitely thought about it. And he like has this smirk on his face. I'm like, yep, guilty. There you go. Basically, that's it. Okay. Jax says he spoke to Kyle Chan about it and how to go about it. And Kyle advised him to hold on to it because the diamond market isn't as high as it was. So that's why he put it in the safe. That it's all lies. It's all fucking lies. I guarantee you. Okay. Jesse says he doesn't understand this because a ring under California law, and Jesse goes, I've talked to a few lawyers and they all say that a ring under California law is considered a gift. So like you can't, like it's not yours, basically you can't take it back. And I'm sure Jesse knows this because he probably tried to like stick it to Michelle by trying to get the wedding ring back. And Jax is like, oh, so I have to give it to her? And you can tell that Jax, like in Jax's head, everything revolves around him and whatever benefits him is reality. So he was probably like, well, I paid for it, so it must be mine. Like he's so, like in his head, her boobs probably belong to him because he paid for them. No, sir, these are called presents. Okay. Every birthday gift that you've given someone across your life, you can't just go and take it back. Like that is actually, and Jax would be that dumb to not understand that that's how the law works. Like the majority of people would assume that when you gift something, it is no longer yours, except crazy narcissists like Jax. Okay. Or at least like he doesn't even want to accept the reality that most people would assume because it doesn't benefit him. Right. So Britt says she pays for literally everything. So one day she got kind of like the gall to like, not the gall, because I don't mean it. That has a negative connotations. She got the guts. That's what I wanted. The guts to like be like, I'm gonna ask him for some money. So she asked him for 5,000. He gave her 3. And she was like, where is your money? Like, what happened to all your money? Britt, I like, girl, you know what happened to it. Like, there's people who blow through, like, no pun intended, through millions of dollars. So get out of here. Britt says he's always been tight on money and on their bank accounts. She says they've always had separate bank accounts and that he was always so tight on her about spending and always getting on her anytime she would buy anything. And Lala's like, yeah, he was tight on you. Yeah, exactly. Like, Britt, girl, I'm on your side with this, but you need to stop being so stupid. The reason he's on you because he wants to make sure that you will be there, and he always has for the last 7 years wanted to make sure that you will be there to catch him financially when he falls because he wants to be able to spend all his money on drugs and probably other, you know, crazy shit and partying, etc. And he wants to he'll just be like, "Oh, well, Brittany will pay the mortgage. Brittany will pay for the house. Brittany will pay these bills. Brittany will buy whatever Cruz needs, etc." And that's exactly what happened. Like, come on. And again, I'm not blaming her. I'm just saying like you know where everything went. We got to stop with the like kind of denial and naivete. Okay? All right, let's go to episode 9. We talk about Jax watching the cameras. He says he doesn't remember texting the producers that he could see them and hear them, but he's like, you know, I believe you. We don't need you to believe us. It is a fact. It is on camera. We all saw it. Okay. So stop with that. But he's like, no, I could never hear anything though. I was just like, he even says he was trying to read lips. Okay, that's real normal, Jax. Britt says he said he knew what she was wearing and where her rental was. Like, it's like psychotic behavior. Jax again is going on about how they're all, you know, he's like, well, you know, they're all having fun. And, you know, my friends would just text me that like they saw her around. Like he's like, it's not like I had people spying on her. It would just be like my friends would be out at a like party and they would just see Brittany there. And he's like, and you know, like me, like getting upset about this and like texting her about being out. Like, that's just all part of the process. He literally says that. He says that's all part of the process. Like, he is trying to convince everyone, especially the audience, that the way that he's acted, this was all just part of a bad divorce. But now it's over and we should all just move on and forget about everything he did. Well, guess what, Jax? It's not happening. Nobody's forgetting anything. I've never seen so much outrage over someone on Watch What Happens Live as I did this week when Jax was on after this episode 10. And listen, there's no announcement of him being fired or anything yet, but I have a feeling history is about to repeat itself. Okay? It already did with the whole this is my show. My show. Wow, you really learned fuck all. It's so funny because he literally was talking about how he learned from that and how that was like such a, I think it was last season, how that was like, a humbling moment. And now here you are saying it again. It's just unbelievable. Okay. Jax told Brittany he had someone next to her rental house who could see her and watch her. Like, what the fuck? Okay. Britt says she would check cameras. Like when she didn't live at the house, she would check the cameras, but only if she saw like somebody walking like up the whatever. And it was usually girls. And that was because at the time they had an agreement that he would not be bringing girls to the house. Jesse says it feels like Brittany was checking because you guys had an agreement about bringing people to the house, and yours is more about stalking and control. Listen, when you've got Schwartz and Jesse saying stuff like this, like, you are really like you've lost it. You've lost the script. You've lost the plot. You're in Psychoville. Jax is the mayor, all that stuff. Okay. That's a reference from Ace Ventura, in case anyone got that. Okay. Um, Jax says no because he goes no because what I do again, this is always his thing that everything that he's done is the same as what Brittany's done. He's like she would ask about like what I was doing when she wasn't living there, like what am I eating, and she would nitpick, and I'm like I guarantee you that she was not on the camera being like what are you, oh you're having Pop-Tarts, you should be having an avocado. Like, no. And I recall her saying in one of the episodes that she was still buying him groceries and dropping them off at the house. That's probably why she was asking. There's no way she was watching that. Like, again, he just takes the stuff that he did and pretends that she did it. It's insanity. Okay. And then, what does he say? And then he's like, but you know what? Like, I'm not going to sit here and talk badly about her because you know what? I'm not going to come after her. I've got my own shit to fix right now. Like, shut up. Okay. No one, like, this is in one ear, out the other, meaningless. Lala says, didn't a girl DM you a selfie of herself in your bed? Oh my God. So Brittany says that she would get all these gross texts from women. And even before, this was before the hookup with Julian. Not that the hookup with Julian would justify this, because Britt was not taking selfies of her and Julian and sending them to Jax. Okay. Or like pictures of her naked in bed being like, I just had sex with Julian. Like, no. So this girl takes a selfie of herself in Brittany's bed, and Brittany can see a picture of Cruz like in the background that she has like on her bedside table, like so fucked. And the girl like sent it via DM to Brittany. Brittany, I need to know this person's name. Okay. Like, you're being very nice with the anonymity. Who is this person? And what the fuck? Who are this is who's listening to Jax's podcast. This is I just found the audience. There are there are other Jaxes out there, both male, female. They are listening to his podcast. They fall for all his shit. There's also like these fame hungry losers that just want to be anywhere near someone who's on a TV show. Like, it is just pathetic, really. And any girl who would do that is really a loser. Okay. Britt says that one girl sent her a text once while Brittany and Jax were at the aquarium for Cruz's birthday and said, I just don't even understand this, and said, I can still smell your butt on me. What? Okay, that's what she said to Brittany. Like, what? Like, I don't understand. Okay. Brittany doesn't give us much more context. Her and Lala just laugh and talk about how fucked up it was. But like, ugh, like seriously, this is crazy. So then we talk about the fake heart attack. I can't believe I'm even, just the fact that I'm even saying that sentence. We all need to just step back for a moment and just think about how insane that is, that we are talking about a fake heart attack. Like, we had a fake cancer with what's his name, Brooks, and like Jax is a Brooks. He really is. Like, they are in the same league. But it's like, in this case, the Brooks is the star of the show and shouldn't be, by the way. So the therapist confirmed that he never went to the hospital. Later confirmed by the therapist he had no symptoms, never even left the facility, actually. So there was no ambulance ride, all of that shit. Lied boldface to his sister, who, by the way, I think is an enabler. Says that basically he did it because he wanted to make Britt worry and force her to answer back because she wasn't responding. This is not what Jack says. Sorry. This is what like the friends say. I can't remember exactly who says it. I think it was Zach. Jason asked Jax about this and was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, why would you fake a heart attack? And Jax replied, said, no, that never happened. Like, okay. This is what I'm talking about. Like, the lies, they come out of his mouth as naturally as he breathes. It's crazy. So Jax is like, well, like, it's, how can you even fake a heart attack? So that's not a no. Like, notice how he like skirts around the question of like, did you fake a heart attack? He's like, they have to test you. They have to like put things on you. And I'm like, is he talking about like heart monitors and shit? Like, he's like, motioning. And he's like, I just said I was, and it's, you can fake it because you can say, I believe I'm having a heart attack. I have symptoms. I have numbness. I have pain in my chest. I feel whatever. Yes, you can fake it. And then you can go to the hospital and have them test you and check and then be like, no, you are not having a heart attack. So yes, it can happen. He said I was not feeling well and they asked him if he wanted to go to the hospital. He's like, so then I said no. And then they asked if maybe I was just stressed. And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely stressed because like all my friends are filming and I'm here. Okay. So he's not stressed that he's, trying to get sober and clean and work on his, which is very difficult. He's not stressed because his wife is separating and leaving him and because he hasn't seen his son and because his son is being diagnosed with autism. None of that is stressful. He's not stressed because he hasn't paid his mortgage in 6. He's stressed because they're filming and he doesn't get to be there. That's it. It is all about him being famous and being able to control the narrative, etc., etc. That's it. It's like, he's really the worst. Like the absolute worst. Okay. And then Jackson's like, oh, I'm good, but I'm not that good. He's like, how can you manipulate nurses? Dude, you can anybody can be manipulated, and it's a nurse and a doctor's duty of care. So if somebody says they are in pain, they are whatever, they have to look into it and check and try to help you. If you're faking it, that's not their fault for being naive or something. They're not naive. They're just doing their job. It's your fault for being a fucking asshole and wasting a healthcare provider's time and resources. Oh, okay. Okay, then we go to the bar. So apparently the owners of Rocco's, who are the same people who own Jax's. So I guess Rocco's is like this chain of bars, I think, is what I'm getting from them. Straight up sold all the Rocco's according to Britt and Zach. So Zach says that they came to Britt and asked if she wanted to partner and open a Britt's in WeHo. And they had a meeting and Zach was there and Zach's like, I went with her. I have my MBA. I'm not an idiot. And then they were saying, because the producer was like, why'd you go? And then they were saying that, okay, but they want to include Jax. And Britt was like, no, I'm not going to be, who are these guys? I did not like them on this week's episode. They only had one line, but when the guy like kind of chimed in that they turned the bar into Brits, like, shut up. Like, who are you in this world? Like, to quote Yolanda, like, get out of here. Nobody asked for your opinion. Okay. But yeah, Britt was like, no, I can't, I'm never going to be in business with him again. Thank God she had the sense to say that. And they agreed, but then they did back out because apparently because of the fires, they had issues and they ended up selling all their locations. And Tom Schwartz was like, thank God. Who did he say this to? I think he said this like in regards to Britt. I think he said, thank God you don't have a bar with your name on it. They did not sell Jax's location because I guess it's like in the valley, so it's a little different. And they wanted to apparently rebrand Jax's and have like Brit nights, and then spoke to Jax and Brittany about this and like kind of like doing that. And Brittany was like, no, I just don't want to be involved with him in any way. Good. Jax wants to rename the bar and he says he wants to step back a bit. Okay. Yeah, we know because everybody hates you and you're probably like getting no business and people aren't going to come there anymore to see you like they used to. Some people might, I don't know, but we all know what happened with Schwartz and Sandy's. If it goes like there's a certain amount of controversy that may fuel things and make business better, but once it gets to a certain level, it can turn the other way, which is exactly what happened to them. They probably got a little bit more popularity at the start just because everyone was talking about it and maybe going there to take pictures, etc. But then after a while, it just dies. And that's probably what's happening. So then they talk about Brit's bar. So apparently Jesse showed up to this event. He didn't know what they were doing and says he was worried because he's like, I'm picking up Jax the next day from rehab. And my mindset was like, why poke the bear? And Jax is like, why would they try to trigger me? I can't win. No, and you're right. And you don't deserve to win. You've been winning for way too long, unfortunately, at the loss of literally everyone around you, including your son. Jesse needs to just stop. If Jax is going to implode, he's going to implode. And it's not anyone else's responsibility. And again, Brittany having like one night that's about her should not trigger him. And the fact that it does shows just that something is off and that this is an abusive man. Like he can't even stand her getting support. So Kristen and Nia say God forbid they go and celebrate Britt for one night. And they say that shouldn't trigger Jax. Exactly. Unfortunately, it does, but it shouldn't. Britt says she paid for every single thing for the bar, including like the succulent wall, the neon signs, the decor, things for the bar. Like she lists a whole bunch of stuff and she says she's never been paid back one penny for any of it. And, it's not like she has like an ownership stake, like on paper, like Jax does. Jax says he understands why Danny and others ended up going, even though I guess he was mad at Danny in this week's episode. But he says because they were married and, you're married, so you have to go because your wife. And then Schwartz says he says that Jax went absolutely apeshit when he found out that they did the whole Brits thing, which, again, of course he did. Of course he fucking went apeshit. Of course. And Jack says that he went apeshit on Schwartz because he thought Schwartz was there. I guess he saw some picture and he saw like a pair of pants and shoes and assumed it was Schwartz, and it wasn't. Schwartz wasn't even in town, let alone at the bar. And then Schwartz is like, wow, you're really like crazy, like examining like some blurry guy's pants in the background and thinking it's me. And Jackson's like, well, I was in rehab. All I got is time. Why aren't you working on the rehab, sir? Okay, then they talk about moving Jax. Jax says, like, what the fuck? They had random people in my house. Jason says, the girl had, yeah, and by the way, Jax, you had random women in there all the time to the point that they're telling Brittany that they can smell her on them and taking selfies in her bed. So you don't get to say anything. Jason says the girls had feelings about Jax for years. So once Brittany gave them the green light, they just were like ready to go to town on the house. Yeah, I'm sure they always hated him. They were all shocked that Britt divorced him that day and so fast. And Britt says she needed to do it on the spot. And you know what? Smartest thing she's done on camera to date is going to that divorce lawyer and just doing it right away. Because she's totally the type that could get manipulated or talked back into something or just like start feeling a certain way. Like it's just fucking do it and go. Like you have to just do it and not sit on it and overthink it, because this is one of those things where it's like you're having this conversation, the divorce lawyer is like, this is not normal behavior. Go forward. I loved that divorce lawyer. I thought she was just very like no bullshit, straight to the point. You know, that was good. Where was I? Danny says they are advocates of marriage. And I'm assuming he means like him and me, Nia, because I know they are like super Christian. And he says, you know, we're advocates of marriage and trying to make it work. But when one person is making no progress and doing all of these things, and he like lists all the stuff that Jax has done, he's like, you have to divorce. So yeah, even the like really Christian marriage advocates are like, get divorced. That's not a good sign for you, Jax. Jesse says it's inevitable in every separation that there's some element of trying to win. Um, I mean, I hate to say this. I do think he's right a little bit, but I'm sure there are some where it hasn't been like that. But at the end of the day, if you go too far with it, then it can become so toxic, which I think is what's happening with him and Michelle. Jason and Brock say Britt didn't seem like she's trying to win. Yeah, I didn't really see that either. Like, I know she said it in that scene when she was talking to Jesse. She's like, he's not going to win or whatever, like something, or I'm going to win, whatever. I think she was just saying that to sound like confident and tough in the moment. But her actions are like kind of the opposite. Her actions are like often like kind of pushover-ish, and you know, like she's gotten better certainly, because I think he's just gotten to such a bad point that she has no choice. But like look how long she put up with shit for. Like there's no winner in this situation at all. um so yeah, they say, so Jason and Brock say like Britt didn't seem like she's trying to win, she was more devastated overall, and that they think Jesse is projecting. Yes, I agree. I think Jesse well, and he pretty much says that he feels Michelle was always trying to win, and like every time he had an idea when it came to like custody or whatever, that she would find an issue with it or a reason to disagree. And you know, he was just saying that like he wanted them to learn from his mistakes. Well, they're not going to learn from your mistakes when you're still kind of in the middle of it and still making the mistakes. So I don't, and like, it wasn't like you gave Brittany specific advice. Like, if he had been like, well, you know, Michelle said this, and then I tried to disagree and push back, and now I regret that because I was just doing it to win. Like, that would be like a moment of self reflection. And that would show like a moment of, you know, introspection and learning from your mistakes and trying to pass that on to others. But just saying here that like, you know, Michelle was the one who was doing that, like that's not showing a lot of growth. Okay. And again, I'm not saying like that there isn't, again, two sides, or like Michelle doesn't have her own version of this, etc. Of course. Britt says, you know, she'll win because she didn't do anything wrong in the marriage. Yeah, I mean, I think in a sense she now sees that she will win, especially with the way that the audience is and the way that things are coming off, and just the fact that everyone has been pretty truthful on camera. Kristen says, yeah, I would have said the same thing. And she says, I would have said, I'll win and the limit does not exist. See, that's why I like Kristen. She just stands in it. But you know, but then Kristen says, but also Britt is not really going to win anything in this, because like, just like what I was saying before, this is like, there's no winner in this situation. The biggest win is that hopefully Britt can get her life back, protect herself from this dangerous person, and move on. That's literally all there is. Like there's no other. And that is not even like, and that is like coming up against all the shit and garbage she's already had to deal with. Okay, so that is it for episodes 9 and 10. So please stay tuned because, 8 and 9, because episode 10 is coming. So just check back soon and it will be up in your feed. Thank you again for all your patience in me getting to these. It just was an incredibly busy time at work in my full-time other job. So something had to give, and this was the thing that had to give, unfortunately. But yeah, look forward to episode 10, and I hope you enjoyed this recap. Until next time, you are now in the know for everything Valley. Bye. Thanks for listening, everyone. Your support really means everything to me, and this show wouldn't be possible without you, the listeners. So please, if you enjoyed the podcast, leave a 5-star rating and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. For more, you can join my Patreon, patreon.com/bravoandbotox. And for $5 a month, you'll get 4 extra podcast episodes a month. You'll also get early releases of Bravo Paper episodes and more. Please also subscribe to my YouTube channel at The Bravo Papers and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, at Bravo and Botox and at The Bravo Papers. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, you can at buymeacoffee.com/Bravo and Botox. Send your love through some much needed caffeine. And any guest that was on today's episode will be in the show notes, all their social media and contact information. So thank you so much, everyone. Keep overanalyzing Bravo.